set.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, December 18th Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting. This is our last meeting of 2025. Meeting is called to order. We have a delightfully large number of people in person today, making quorum with 7 members present and a handful of guests. I wonder if, since we have some people here who aren't usually here, if we can do a brief round of introductions around the table. So I'd invite everyone to say your name, pronouns if you wish, where you're coming from or situated professionally that's connected to why you're here today, and what you think of the bizarre weather. I will start. I am Veronica Pillar. I use they, them pronouns. I am a county legislator and chair of WDIC, which is what brings me here today. And the weather is messing with my head. And let's go this way.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. My name is Annie Corman. I use pronouns she, her, and I am also a county legislator, at least for another 12 more days. And how do I feel about the weather? I felt good that we had some snow. I was hoping it would stay like the old-fashioned weather that we had of yesteryear. It is bizarre, but I'm trying to be okay and enjoy the warm days and the chilly days.
Hello, Rachel Graham, Deputy County Clerk, member of this committee. Pronouns are she, her. The weather, I love the snow. It's been really beautiful. The bitter cold, not so much. And I was thrilled to pull out my Sunny G's today because, you know, it's nice to be able to wear them.
I'm Samantha Almendinger. I am the county's training and development coordinator. I work in HR and I am a member of WDIC. And you're clapping for me, thank you. I'm enjoying the weather. I think it's nice to be able, I don't mind the cold, but it's nice to be able to walk from place to place without freezing a bit.
Larry Workman, Manager of Talent Acquisition and Engagement for HR. I know, it's a great title, thank you. The weather, I'll take anything that's above 30 degrees compared to what we've had. I think it feels wonderful.
These microphones. Okay. No. I'm Nick Bennett. My pronouns are he, him. I am a professor at IC, so I'm a community member of WDIC. I used to work in communications at the county, and I was a, what do we call them? Like a subcommittee chair for JEDI. So those are my little like connections. And whether I wore a coat and then I walked around the Commons, and now the coat is gone. I know where it is, okay, but yeah, just got way too hot and regretted the coat situation. Yeah.
Nick, I'd be willing to go with you if you had lost. I was getting ready to
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Shauna Black, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a legislator here, and will continue on to the next 3 years. Let's see here. I personally just kind of always go along for the ride with Ithaca weather. I'm from Texas, so I love it really hot, but I never get that here. And let's see here. I'm definitely waiting for the illnesses to be over. My kids have all been sick, and I'm just getting over a cold. So whatever will get us healthier, I'm all on board for weather-wise.
John Halachek, Assistant Director of 911 at the Department of Emergency Response. And from what I'm told, we're supposed to have rain tonight and about 50 degrees tomorrow, which is wonderful. However, apparently the wind is going to match the temperatures, so that's usually a busy day and evening in my department.
Good afternoon. I'm Bridget Nugent. I serve as one of the deputy county administrators. She, her pronouns, and I love anytime the sun is out. So I'm just pleased to see the sunshine in this very gray part of the country.
Yeah. Of course, I couldn't be. I was told it's a pizza with pineapples on it, so I came. Him. The weather. At least my eyes, the snow in front of my house is melting. I'm told I live in, by the snow something, and I get a lot of snow up in Freeville, so I'm glad I didn't have to pay to move all the snow, and they're melting by themselves, so it's good. I'm happy to be here and joining all of you for your good work.
Thank you. Jordan?
My name is Jordan Cree, she, her. I am the staffing clerk for WDIC and will continue to do that next year if Veronica will have me. I usually like to end on a positive note, but the weather has me concerned. Just like John touched on a little bit, when it gets too hot, everything melts, and then it freezes over and turns to ice. We have a very robust elderly community here, and I just want everybody to be safe.
Thank you. Thank you all. And we have nobody purely on Zoom, which is highly unusual. It must have been the food that did it. All right, thanks everyone. Changes to the agenda, and I don't think we have any, do we? Nope. All right. Chair's report, just a couple quick things. One, the Leslie McBean Claiborne Strength and Diversity Award was formally awarded at Tuesday's legislature meeting. Thanks to those of you who were able to be here or saw. Both Steve Sellen from South Hill Cider and Hashonda Johnson, the individual recipient, were here and with family and friends, which was really wonderful to see. And Leslyn Kane, yes, yeah. Second thing, Jordan has kindly notified or reminded me that members of this committee all have to do annual sexual harassment training. And everyone, if you did your training like you were supposed to as a county employee, you've already done this. If you're not a county employee, in which some of our members are, Nick, you're the only one here right now, you will have to do some training that I will send you what is necessary by email later today, but look out for that. And finally, this, a lot of the membership of this committee does not change with year or legislature term, but this is Annie's last meeting, and I can't think about that too hard or I will cry, but thank you, Annie, for your service on this committee and for the county in general. The last 8 years. I've only been here the last 4 years, but you've always been here on this committee. You've always been supporting me hugely while I've been sharing it. And yeah, this engine would not keep turning if it weren't for you.
Thank you. I just wanted to chime in a little bit and say that it is bittersweet to leave. I've been on this committee for 8 years, and it's hard work. It's really important work, but I feel really good because there's a great group of people here. So I know it's in good hands, and we have some great new legislators coming in too, who also believe this work is important. So great job doing this work, and I know we have a couple of new people with in this committee. So please keep up the good work, and the fight is hard, but it definitely is worth it. Thank you.
It occurs to me, since community members can be on this committee, you don't have to leave, but you can also be retired. You more than earned it.
There is a vacancy.
Yes, true, yeah. All right, moving on to minutes approval from the November 24th meeting. Could I have someone move the minutes? Rachel moves, Annie seconds. Any discussions, edits? This has never happened before, but since everyone's in person, can we just do a, hey, oh man. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, November 24th, that is unanimous. Thank you. Wow, so weird. All right, now we are on to, I think, the meat of this meeting, which is presentations on equity indicators from 2 different departments. Thank you. First up is County Administration.
Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting us. We've been working through the guidance that we set. Basically, we set it, and I suppose we should have been the first to be here, but it's better late than never. So I'm excited that we're finally coming in to talk about the equity indicators that we set for ourselves as county administration. So we chose 2 indicators. The first one is the number of new or updated administrative policies reviewed through equity lens. So if you talk about the equity lens, you're looking at 5 key deliverables. So who benefit and who is left out of our policies? What are the potential impact on historically ignored communities? Are there existing disparities or inequalities? Is the policy culturally responsive and inclusive? And also, what opportunities exist to address systemic barriers and structural inequalities? So these are the things that we look for in terms of reviewing our policies to make sure it addresses those community concerns or those critical needs that exist within the community. The other indicator that we set for ourselves is the percentage of county admin employees that complete DEI training. So as we go through the process, our goal is to ensure not just for county administration, but to expand it across board. So as we had the GEAR conference here, we encourage all departments to send as many employees as possible, or we continuously assessing or evaluating the number of county employees as a whole that are participating in various DEI trainings. So I'll invite Bridget to go through the rest of our presentation.
Great, thank you. So just to build upon what Corsa had already outlined, yes, the first equity indicator is how well all of our administrative policies align with our DEI objectives, as outlined in our inaugural Institutionalizing Equity report that will also be updated on an annual basis, and our 5-year strategic plan. So those 5 key questions that Corsa had outlined are outlined in what is called our equity lens, which is a tool that is available for all employees to review any administrative policy and any departmental internal policy using those 5 key questions to make sure that the policies are aligned through that equity lens. This will be tracked through regular surveys through departments, working directly with HR, and then administration, since we are the department that largely shepherds through administrative policies, we'll make sure that we're building in that step to each and every review of policies before it reaches the legislature for approval. And that will be data that we will review and report on annually. At this point, we don't have data for 2024 as we adopted the equity lens early 2025, but we will have data for 2025 to start presenting in early 2026. The second indicator is the percentage of county administration employees who complete DEI-related training each year, as Corsa outlined. This will be our means of tracking and reporting the number of employees who complete these training programs among county administration employees. As Corsa noted, we did put a really strong plug-in for the GEAR conference, and many of our county administration employees were able to take advantage of that, but we're looking for other trainings and opportunities, specifically those that would really speak to the individual work scopes of each of our employees and how that can be built into their regular day-to-day programming. And this will be tracked through training records, registrations, and certifications, and will also be reported on annually. And much like the first indicator, we will have data for 2025 starting in early 2026 and reporting annually thereafter. I did want to make note that while those are our internal departmental equity indicators, I wanted to also plug that county administration is also responsible for tracking key performance indicators that have been identified in our strategic operations plan throughout all the priority areas. And I thought it was important to highlight a few of these that I think could be considered more countywide or organizational equity indicators. Those include percentage of county staff who receive equity training annually. Of course, I had mentioned we'll be tracking internally within the department, but also working closely with HR and our department heads to track across the county all employees that are receiving equity training, making sure that training is available and accessible to all employees. We're going to take a closer look at our procurement policies and the ways that we procure vendors for county business, and looking at the percentage of those that are certified MWBE, and using that data to hopefully increase the number of MWBE certified vendors the county is conducting business with. So that will be some data that we'll be looking more closely at and hopefully tracking. Should be able to track that more easily with our new procurement software that we've been able to transition to OpenGov, so that should be good. And then finally, each department will have an annual list of goals. They'll also have equity indicators that we'll be tracking. So on a holistic organizational level, we'll be responsible for making sure that any programs that were defined in those action plans have been initiated, and get a better understanding of how monitoring the progress of those various initiatives. So those are KPIs that are specifically outlined in our strategic operations plan that county administration will be tasked with regularly reporting on. And as I mentioned during the KPI presentation during our GO committee meeting, we currently have a bi-departmental dashboard of all department KPIs that has been shared, but we'll be working on a public-facing dashboard in 2026 that will be able to show all strategic plan KPIs, so that you can look forward to that, and then we'll be able to also publish equity indicators in that manner.
Just
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, just before you left that page, I can't remember if you said what MWBE is. It's, I mean, I know what it is.
Sure.
It's minority or women-owned business enterprises.
That's correct.
Is it?
Yes, thanks, Annie.
Okay, just want to be transparent.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sorry.
I was same thing as you, Ann, so you're good.
Thank you.
Annie's going to leave big shoes to fill in terms of the making sure everyone spells out every acronym they use. I'll do my best.
And that is all we had. So that gives you an outline of what we are looking towards in county administration.
Thank you.
Sure.
Questions or feedback for Bridget and Corsa? Rachel and then Annie?
And I think I got the answer to this. I wrote this down in the first part. So the second indicator of measuring the DEI-related trainings, that part doesn't include the annual training all employees are required to do, but that is collected with the KPI?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That is a good distinction.
All right.
Yes,
Thanks.
that is accurate.
Okay.
I didn't understand what you just.
Okay, let me see if I
Talking
can
about-
explain it better.
yeah.
So they're tracking the amount of employees that are getting DEI training as their second equity indicator, but not including the required annual equity training that all employees are required to take every year.
Oh, okay.
But they are collecting that part as their KPI measurement,
Oh, I wasn't clear on that. So
key performance indicator.
Key performance indicator. Thank you.
Yes.
That was explained earlier. Thank you for saying what KPI is.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah, that helps clarify that. I didn't realize that. Now, so for the dashboard that's coming out in 2026, so I'm thrilled about that. Anytime we can give information to the public, as people have known that I'm all about transparency. And so will KPIs be just for employees? And is that's DEI training? So for that or is it for, well, I guess that would be, I guess I'm not clear, is for those key performance indicators, is it the required training then, or is it additional training?
So just to back up a bit, so in the strategic operations plan, we as a county identified key performance indicators per priority area. All of those KPIs will be presented in a public fashion to show our performance and how we are doing in each of those areas. One of those KPIs is the percentage of county employees who receive DEI training, and that will include the annual training plus whatever else they're taking. Yep.
Oh, so it will include essentially two numbers, like one would be what's required, and then another one, any additional training.
Yes,
okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you for doing that.
Sure.
I'd like to tag a question on that. In the annual online training, I forget exactly what it was this year because I did it so quickly after it was emailed out. But there was something about the value of diversity in workplaces and something about what inclusion and exclusion looks like. And do all county employees take those trainings?
Yes, those are required trainings, and those specific DEI related trainings were new as of last year under the leadership of our prior Chief Equity and Diversity Officer. So those were annual trainings, and we expect those to continue going forward.
Okay, cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
So in theory, ideally, the percent of county staff who receive equity training annually should be 100%.
It should be pretty close to 100%,
Okay, yeah.
yes. Yes.
All right. Other questions or comments? Well, I have more. One, the institutionalizing equity report, is there one for 2025 published? There's one prominently on the website, very lovely, that was from late 2024. But if it's coming out annually.
I'm not sure that there is. I don't think there's been one. There was one that was worked on prior to Charlene's departure, but I don't know that it's been finalized and released. So we'll make sure that that's a priority.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And for the equity lens, I didn't realize that was available on the website, so that is very cool. When reviewing the policies through that, I guess I'm imagining it would be helpful for someone to answer those questions and write down the answers for each policy. Is that what you do? And also, who gets to answer the questions?
So usually the policy development process or review process starts with the department. So for example, if it is procurement policy, it will start from finance. Finance will then send it to county administration. Because procurement touches every single department, we will then forward it to every single department to review it and contribute to its development. And after that process, we send it to a Chief Equity and Diversity Officer to review it against the equity lens, and then before it goes to county attorney for his or the department review, and then come back to county administration for any final touches before it's presented to a committee for review process. So we make sure all those key points are touched. So the key individual in the value chain that's subject to policy review process or development to the equity lens is the Chief Equity Diversity Officer or county administration. So that is our responsibility to make sure we are subjecting that policy for that purpose. The other side of it is working closely with the department. There are some department-specific policies, and we need to make sure that those questions are also answered in the minds of the departments.
Okay, thank you. Would it be possible, when a policy has come through this review and is ready for legislature approval, for legislators to see the answers to the equity lens questions that were.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would help. One thing that I think that would help with is kind of like passively training us on how this should work. All right, thank you. Anything else for county administration?
Yeah, I just want to provide a quick update. A quick update on the pseudo hiring process. So we received 25 applications. Those applications have been reviewed by the committee that was put together. Fortunately for me, thank you, Larry, I'm not part of the committee at the moment. So the committee will shortlist, I believe, 6 candidates with maybe 1 or 2 standbys, and then go through all the interview process and recommend 2 candidates to county administration. Those 2 candidates will then have a meeting again with county administration staff, director of human resource, and also the county attorney to have a conversation. And then we will recommend one of those candidates to be appointed to the legislature. So currently, I believe there are 2 legislatures involved in the interview process. So our hope to be able to complete that process mid-January or toward the end of January with the goal of filling the position in the West, hopefully by beginning of February.
Thank you. And I believe Larry's already scheduled the interviews for the short list of 5 for
Yes, those
early
interviews have
January.
been scheduled, yes.
John.
Just a question regarding the interview panel, and I know you had just said that a legislator will be there. Will that legislator come from this committee? Because it seems like the work is intertwined. And I know there's a big change in the legislature. We don't know who that potentially oncoming member of the new ledge might be.
Yes.
But I would just offer that as point of consideration for the panel.
So there are 2 legislators on the panel right now. I'm one of them.
Okay.
And Travis Brooks is the other.
Very good.
And
Yeah,
both
and
of
we
us are
also have-
continuing into next year.
Yeah, we also, I believe, have 2 department heads, both also serve as part of Team Jedi, also on the panel. Is it 1? Yes, 1. Yeah, man. And our hope is, as we go through the second phase of those shortlists, we will hopefully involve some of our members of Team Jedi in that open conversation with those 2 finalists, and then have more of a collective decision making around how we proceed.
Very good.
Annie?
Of course, a couple of meetings ago, we had, and during budget time for the county, we asked somebody from administration. So Norma Jane came and talked to us about the Human Rights Office as far as what was going to be happening with that. And at that point, she had said that the director was going to be that director position that's vacant was going to be posted, and that was going to be filled. So there's been some different conversations since then, and at HHS, at the Health and Human Services Committee. So could you or Shauna or just somebody update us on that? Because I think that's some new information for the committee.
Yeah, okay, so we posted the position of the director, and then at the HHS previous meeting, I was asked to bring forward proposals or options for their consideration as that was expected. As I indicated during the budget process, after the initial presentation in July to HHS about how we want to proceed with that unit or that agency, I was of the opinion that sufficient information were provided then to maintain the status quo. And we're hoping that through the budget process, I was made to understand that the position of education and outreach coordinator was mistakenly dropped in the middle around 2024 or so. So we're trying to restore that. So when I was instructed to bring forward options, I work with my team to come up with scenarios that will help us to maintain the office and also enhance what they are able to do, and presented that to the committee. The instruction that I took away from the committee conversation was to come up with a resolution that will ensure that we can hire a position. If that resolution is supported, then we will create the position of education and outreach coordinator and seek to hire that individual. As I emphasize at HHS, the Director of Human Rights position is a chartered position, so we cannot eliminate that without going through the charter amendment process. So where we are right now, from my understanding, is the committee in January are anticipating us to submit a resolution, which I will be working on that with the county attorney to be presented for consideration and direction as we proceed. But based on that conversation, I asked HR to postpone the advertising for the director position because of lack of specific direction how we are going to proceed. And if the thought process from the legislature is to maintain the status quo, then we will just repost the position again. I do believe we did receive 5 applications, and those candidates that submitted the applications, 4? 6 applications. So those individuals have been informed of the suspension, and we will get back to, we will let them know if the position is restored. They will not need to reapply, but we can then move forward. But if the desire or the recommendation or the approval process from the legislatures is to create the education and outreach coordinator, working closely with county administration and the commission, Human Rights Commission, in rebuilding the office, then we will be able to do that. If you look at the proposal that was submitted by the Human Rights Commission, the key recommendation from that proposal is to create 4 positions, which is maintaining the county, maintaining that Director of Human Rights, creating a paralegal position, upgrading the receptionist to administrative assistant, and also creating the education and outreach coordinator. Those are the key recommendations. But I think during the budget process, our thought was we don't need to create all that positions now because we haven't even identified the funding resources for that yet, but maybe leave it as a status quo and help try to identify a candidate in the director position to hopefully rebuild the office up. And as the chair of HHS indicated, if the ultimate findings is to eliminate the director position, then how can you hire somebody and ask the person to review it and bring a recommendation that says my position needs to be eliminated? One of the key concerns that I did have earlier, and I will line that up with when we're trying to hire a position of budget director, there are instances whereby the title of a position also becomes a hindrance. Because sometimes when an individual is being hired as a director, they're looking at that director title with that specific set of goals or responsibilities. And if you have a department with just one person or with 2 people, so as a director in that role, you really are hands-on and you need to be able to do the training, do the education, do those outreach and get out there and talk to the community and propose policies or all those processes. Sometimes that could be lost in the process. So we wanted to give ourselves an opportunity to evaluate the specific needs and work closely with the commission to determine the direction for the agency. And I think what has been answered for me is that the office is critical. It is important. We have to maintain it. But I think the question now is the how.
Annie?
Yeah, so thank you for explaining that, Corsa. My thoughts on that are that I hope that either the decision to just hire an education and outreach person either gets delayed and doesn't get decided in January, or if you go ahead and decide to hire that person, then the next step is to work with the public to see what is needed, because we thought that was going to be done, and for whatever reasons that didn't get done this year. And so I hope that gets done, because the education and outreach person, I don't know as that's going to be part of their job, is to decide what else is needed for the community. So, anyway, I just hope that part actually gets done this year, because I'm really concerned that people now aren't going to have a place to go to talk and get referrals or to deal with the smaller issues, that the human rights issues, or they're not always human rights issues that people come to, but there's a front-facing office for people to come to us, so.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And one last thing that I'll say is, I am very outcome-driven individual, so I think it's critical that we are getting value for our investment and what we really seek within the community as well. So it's essential that whichever makeup that we establish is not just in name, but it's in substance, and we're really getting value for our investment into the unit. So that's my hope. So if the value will be derived from a director position, I hope the legislature will support that. And if we get a education and outreach coordinator, it's all about also county administration and the commission working with these individuals to make sure the community expectations are being met. And I think that's my goal, and that's what I seek to attain or achieve at the end of the day. So it's essential that we understand what the community needs are and make sure we respond effectively.
Thank you. Shauna.
Yeah, thanks. I think the one thing that I constantly think in the back of my mind is like the government can't be everything to everyone. And I think the way that I see this position is that we certainly have not served our community well with this office over the past 3 or 4 years, because we really have not had a mission. We haven't had a goal. We've been able to kind of halfway help people with their grievances and their human rights issues. And I think if there is a way for us to actually subcontract whenever people are having concerns and complaints and grievances and issues in our community, that would probably be the best way to go about taking care of our people that are struggling. Because we know that we haven't had the ability, that was taken away 6 years ago, the ability to actually work on formal complaints to the New York State Department of Human Rights. And we've kind of been hodgepodging it, having a computer, having someone, help with the forms. And if we could contract with either the Worker Center or Law New York to actually have paralegals or attorneys that can sit down and help people through the process, that's going to serve people a lot further than what we've been able to do in the past. Because we can't even talk about the legalities, because there's a liability issue that we haven't had an attorney in that role that can have that conversation. So that's one of Course's proposals, is actually us recruiting outside agencies to help us with the part that we haven't been able to do well. So I feel really good about that part. And the commissioners have been absolutely incredible. We have such dedicated people that are volunteering their time to serve on the commission, but I think their knowledge also only goes so far. And I think what we're also hearing from our commission is they're exhausted. There are a lot of people that that have issues with either employers or housing issues or discrimination in our county. And I think for many of them, they have full-time jobs and families they're trying to take care of, and they don't have the time to be able to commit full-time to doing this type of work. And so I think as we look forward, it's not that we're like dismantling the department or taking it apart. I feel like personally, like we're trying to make it better, and we're trying to actually really help people, because I feel like over the past 6 years, it's kind of been lip service, and we really haven't had the skills to really help people through the process.
Thank you. I do think that hiring someone to work in our Office of Human Rights will be critical to building it up again, just since everyone, legislators, our existing staff, human rights commissioners, nobody is able to put the majority of their focus onto the issue of this office. As previously stated, we're all doing a bunch of other things. So we would at least have one person who will do that. Annie, thank you for raising this, and to everyone that it will be coming back to the full legislature, or this proposal to be voted on sometime in the next couple months.
Can I say one more?
Yes.
Yeah, so lastly, I just want to add that I hope that this continues to be a discussion with WDIC, because we're the advisory board for these type of things. So I hope that communication, is better for the next year.
One really quick question.
Yes.
How many people are on the commission and what are those terms, like the term limits? Do you know, Jordan?
1 second. So the commission is made up of 15 members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like there's currently 6 vacancies.
Wow, okay.
And memberships are staggered of 3-year terms.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't know if the numbers of term length and commissioners is set locally, but the existence of a human rights commission at all has its basis in state law, right?
Yes. The Human
Just
Rights
to add some complication.
It's also listed in our Tompkins County Charter, the commission is, as well as the office. And our term limits for the commissions are non-existent, so their bylaws do not include term limits. You can continue to run as long as the board will have you.
Okay. Thank you. Annie, I have added a brief note about keeping up with Office of Human Rights status to our 2026 goals discussion that will come later. But for now, are we ready to move to our other equity indicator presentation? All right, we've got from Human Resources, Samantha Almendinger and Larry Workman. Take it away.
All right. So we have one equity indicator currently. It is called the Workforce Diversity Enhancement. The goal of this indicator is tracking the demographic composition of staff with a focus on underrepresented groups.
Could you get a little closer to the mic, or move your mic a little closer to you?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
All right. So we're measuring this utilizing our HR database, and the tools used are also our database, and then the employee demographic self-reporting. So employees self-report this information via their applications, and then they can also update this in UKG, our time card system. The frequency of when this data is collected is when they come on board or report a change, and then we review this data biannually. Our first snapshot of this was done in August this year, and so far we have reviewed the data and then had internal discussions about how we can apply that with some context. So we'll share some of the snapshots here. So there are limitations to the data that we can collect, and we only are able to capture gender and race and ethnicity. And so that's the limitations of the data that we have with just our self-reporting systems. This one is specific to gender, and so on the left, you'll see our employee self-reported gender chart here. And then on the right, you'll see our 2024 county population, age 18 plus. And this was provided by our county GIS team. So thank you very much to that team for providing that for us.
There's so many non-binary people. It's very exciting. I don't know if so many is the proper takeaway, but it feels like so many.
I was thinking that too.
8.
Yeah.
And then our second snapshot here is specific to race and ethnicity. And this, on the left, you'll see our employee self-reported data. And then on the right, again, you'll see our full county population according to the 2024 data. And you may notice a little bit of differences here just because of the way that our system tracks the data and the categories versus the census. So some of the categories are a little different. Most of them are similar, but you will notice that there are some differences. We are also looking at demographic information regarding new hires and then those leaving county employment. I just want to make a note that terms does not mean people who were terminated. It refers to just in general anybody who has left the county for any reason. It's just how the system tracks it as terms.
Like their legislature term expires and.
Yeah. Yep. So there are some challenges and barriers with what we currently have access to. So we have difficulty in ensuring consistent reporting, HR staff time in reviewing and analyzing the data. And then we have a limit to like the context of the data and how much we can actually see and review. So those are some of our challenges. Our next steps, we're gonna continue to pull this data, and then we're also going to continue to seek out and apply best practices in our recruitment plan. I'll let Larry talk about the recruitment plan here.
Yeah, I gotta be able to read that. My eyes got old. The rest of me's fine. So highlights from the, so each time a vacancy is posted, we have a list of places that we put out. We have an automatic email notification system that goes out, so anybody who has signed up for either exams or vacancies gets an automatic email. But we also have a list of over 60 either not-for-profit agencies or programs that are also automatically get an email every time we post a vacancy or an exam. We are looking to update that list. That list is getting pretty old. Our system is very old. That's why we're getting a new one next year. There is no way to go back and edit the old system because it's outdated. So we're really excited about that piece in the new system, being able to make sure that everybody who wants our notifications is actually getting them. And then, of course, you know, it's attending job fairs at various locations around the county. We do that. It's not just me. Samantha comes along and whoever else wants to come. Again, Ruby said the other day, legislators are welcome to come and hang out at a table with me. It's one of the most fun things you'll get to do is hang out at a job fair. You meet everybody and anybody. And then there's in-person visits at high schools, TST BOCE programs, TC3, where I talk about careers in public service. At TC3, I am on the Human Services Board, Addiction Recovery Board. I'm on the P-TECH Advisory Board now. And then they just asked me to join one of their career resource boards at TST BOCES as well that also connects with TC3. So I do a lot of that kind of work of networking around the agency, or around the whole county, really. Here's a list of some of the places that we post. Many of these are automated that go out. Some of them are not. So if everybody looks through that list, if you have ideas of where else they could go, please send them to me. I would love to add more places to this list to diversify that. And then the climate survey. So we're really hoping that the next climate survey that's slated to come out in 2026 is really going to help us focus. I know the one in 2018, when I got here 5 years ago, I read through that and read through it and read through it, and it really was helpful for me coming in, doing the recruiting and staff retention piece here. And there was a lot of information that I was able to share and disseminate with the rest of HR so we can fully support the employees here and our community. So very excited for the next one to come out.
Yeah, and I just want to add something about the climate survey. It's also, like, our HR database collects pretty limited stuff. However, the climate survey may collect additional data that will help us actually capture more information about the diversity of our staff. Yeah. Okay. Any questions or feedback?
Questions or feedback for our HR folks?
I have one.
Yes.
In one of the slide presentations where it was talking about the metrics assessed, it said race and ethnicity. And for the purpose of quantifying the data there, are race and ethnicity being used as equivalent terms? Because generally speaking, they mean different things.
Can you go back to that slide? Because I had a question later on that too.
So the way that we did this, so you'll notice in the full county population, it says Hispanic any race. So that lists, from what I understand about this data, it lists anyone who has selected Hispanic, no matter what race they have chosen. And so that was put within the same data. We haven't separated it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I was just thinking is when I hear each of those terms, like ethnicity to me is I'm Irish or I'm whatever.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the standard white, black, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, et cetera.
Right.
So I was just wondering, is there a true assessment of ethnicity or should that just drop away and it should be race?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be race. To break out ethnicity like that wouldn't be data that we would ever be able to collect. Again, this is all self-reported on our side of our data, and it's really, really limited of what we can collect and what people want to identify as. So this is really the best that we have with what the tools we have now.
Thank you.
Annie.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. So a couple of questions, and I don't know if you said this. Will you have information on this will go on the public dashboard?
We haven't discussed that as of yet, but we can definitely talk about that with Ruby.
Because these are things that people ask us about in the community. And I think, for recruiting new folks, I think this might be information that would be, that if I was looking to get a job here, this might be information that I might want to readily, be able to access and see. And so just noticing too, I know you said, it's two different ways that you're measuring it. One's from the census and one is from other data. So it's not apples to apples, so to speak. But according to this, I'll just note that the census says only 68% of folks in the county are white, identify as white, but for our employees, 80% identify it as white. So as, there's maybe some work that we can do here to be more representative,
Yes.
in the community or in the county as far as an employer. Thank you.
So Nick, did you have something?
I don't have like a question.
And then John.
Just a, one of my little Nick flashbacks of positivity, remembering, so when I joined the committee in 2022, this 2022 and 2023, I remember we, in WDIC and in JEDI, my subcommittee, we were like really pressing on HR to, we fill out this demographic information when we're hired, what happens to that? And we had been really wanting to see some kind of, see how the data could actually be used and actually see the data. And I remember that was a challenge with the, I think the, a very legitimate argument of this is protected information, right? And so just my little positivity thing of, yay, we have it, and it's not really, I mean, okay, sure, so the conversation didn't start when I joined, but just from my perspective of, of it's 2-3 years and now we have this, I think is really great progress. I am, as a white person, but also just as somebody who cares about DEI, disappointed to see the disparity of the, more white than our population, right? The representation there not matching, but we have the data, and so now we can see this and do something, and yeah, just really positive. Cool, good stuff. Thanks.
Thank you. Can I tag on to that before I go to John? I recall in some of the conversations Nick was referencing about the employee self-reporting data, I know, and like, where does it go? I know that one thing that came up was that people, the self-reported demographic form or whatever didn't get introduced until, I don't know, it got introduced at some point more recently than the hire date of many employees, I think, including Rachel, you brought this up. So, but here you say that employee demographic self-reporting is a data source used and it's collected as employees come on board or report a change. And so at this point, I don't know what's gone on with like software reporting, but do you think that longtime employees have all like had the in their face opportunity to self-report demographics?
Yeah, when part of UKG was getting utilized, that had been there, it just was a part that wasn't used. There were emails that went out that let folks know that there were many other things that they could identify in their UKG folder.
Yeah, and I can share emails went out, and when you would log on to do your timesheet, there would be a pop-up for a while there that every time you logged on, it would remind you to fill that out as an option.
Cool, thank you. Fun fact, I learned today that not all the legislators even know what UKG is. Anyway, John.
Just on the data and the difference between the data in the employee self-reported and the census data, looking at the 68% in the census data and the 80% employment, what are the takeaways there? Because what immediately came to my mind, and even in the secondary categories and on down the list, is how much of that may be driven by affordability within the county, residential choice. What I'm trying to get at here is I wouldn't want to look at this data in a vacuum, and I wouldn't want to derive the wrong conclusion, because I think there are many factors that go into what underpins these values in each study.
Yeah, that was definitely a point that we were wanting to make, that, this is the data that we have. What does it really mean? That's one thing, the affordability, the fact that 40-some% of our workforce live outside of the county. What does that mean? So there's a lot of factors to break this down of what it means. So we have to just kind of be careful how we're interpreting it and which way we're going with it.
Yep. Thank you.
Annie?
Yeah, just one last thing, in reviewing the list for where you send out notices for employment opportunities, is there outreach to, say, the universities because I know a lot of times they have spouses. Was that on there and I missed it?
So Handshake is...
Oh, that's what that is?
Yep, Handshake is what all the universities and colleges are using now, so you can post it on there, and you can specify certain places you want it to go, or you can just put a wide swath on sending it everywhere that'll accept it. That's the one I use. But that's where alumni, students, educators are all registered and looking on there for career opportunities.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for doing such great outreach.
Thanks.
Other questions? Rachel?
I have one. It's not directly related to the report, but something I heard you say during the report. You said there's going to be a new system next year. Mm-hmm. Everyone that's already signed up to be getting those emails would be just moved over to the new system, or people would need to sign up again?
I'm hoping so. We have just started meeting with the software company, NeoGov, to figure out what we're going to have to manually move and what's going to be automatically moved. So we just started that conversation.
Okay. And then that also means where we enter information for new employees and employee changes, that would be new also?
This is just for the application.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
cool.
Where you're talking about, like into UKG, that's nothing there's changing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for HR on their equity indicator? All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you all. We're glad to share this information.
Yes, thank you for sharing. And Larry, you're welcome to stay. Sam, you are required to stay. I should note that during this, Shauna Black had to leave, so we no longer have quorum. However, we don't have anything more to vote on, just discussion, so we will continue. We are on to reports/updates. First, from the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer. We don't have one right now. We already heard from Corsa about where we are in interviewing to hire a new one. The only other thing I would add is that the position of Chief Equity and Diversity Officer did get added to the county charter. I actually forget if that was before or after our last WDIC meeting.
After.
Okay.
Right.
So that is great.
That is huge.
Yes.
Very much so.
And then Team Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion JEDI update. Rachel?
Sure. So JEDI has not met since the last WDIC meeting because we're having this one earlier. We actually meet tomorrow for our final meeting of 2025. On that agenda is an update on the CEDO getting passed to be added to the charter. I will share with them the update that Corsa gave us today on the CEDO position. So I was glad to hear that because I was worried I wouldn't be able to give them an update. So that was good timing. And then we also are going to discuss year-end celebrating 2025, and together we'll make a list of JEDI accomplishments and contributions that we made this year. We have sent out a survey to JEDI members because we've been having not great numbers in meetings, and I'm hearing from a lot of people that the day and time we meet is challenging for them. So I've sent out a survey to gauge, if people are still interested in continuing on the committee next year, and B, some other options for meeting days and times throughout the year. And with that information, I'm hesitant to schedule meetings in 2026 until we have a CETO in place and can get their input on when is good for them to meet also, because we would want that to align. So I'm not really sure what we'll do in January and February before we figure that out, but we'll discuss that at the meeting tomorrow. And then also on the agenda is trying to put a committee together to plan our next reading and discussion group for 2026. And that is my Jedi update.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions or comments for Team Jedi? Sounds like very thoughtful organization on your part with the year transition.
And Kevin, who's my co-chair now.
Oh, yes, and Kevin.
Yes.
Kevin, you're welcome to join us at WDIC meetings if you're listening.
Kevin.
Yes, Kevin McCarthy.
McGuire.
Sorry.
McGuire,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep, he's with the highway department.
Right.
Yep,
Okay, great.
he's my sidekick.
Yeah. Sorry, thank you. Kevin McGuire.
Kevin, if you're listening, there's a vacancy.
Yeah. Kevin, I saw you earlier today. I should have yelled at you. Not to be extra creepy.
Now we have to send this to Kevin.
Yeah.
I'll let him know tomorrow.
Yeah, if you could send a recording and where, the minute that we started talking about Kevin. Okay.
Kevin, I'm sorry, I got your name wrong. Let's move on because I am
you can
losing
put
it.
the minute after we figured out his last name.
There we go. To discussion items. So last thing I had was just to look back at our stated 2025 goals and priorities. And also to discuss what this committee might want to have as its goals for 2026. Just a general discussion. So in your agenda packet, we have the written document of goals that we had at some point at the beginning of this year. And so I wonder if we could just go through each one and say, did we do it? Did we not? Somewhere in between? Do we remember what it means? And as we go, it might be that some of these things make sense to make a 2026 goal or a related 2026 goal, and then we can open the discussion from there. So first one was develop an onboarding packet for WDIC members, which I feel like Rachel kind of did.
Yeah, we'll need to keep working on that. I did create a document, but it needs work.
Yeah. Sam?
I will add that it was very helpful, though.
Oh, good.
So when I got it, I reviewed all this stuff, and it was very helpful to give me context, and I watched the clips that you highlighted, so pretty helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for the feedback. Next, we had recruit additional membership to a full board of 13. We did not do that, although we got at least one new member.
And Shauna.
And Sean, at least two new members, yes.
Kevin.
Oh, and
Kevin, if you're listening.
And we're hoping for Kevin.
John and Lillian.
Yeah, did you join this year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we got new members.
John was just,
That we just didn't get full.
I thought John was here longer, yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
you just made that much of an
It's
impact?
good, you're right at home.
Yeah. So
I'm so sorry. At one point, you were full, so you did reach that goal.
Oh,
And then you had a couple members. So I want to throw that out, that you did reach your goal and you are actively participating in
moment in
it. You should
time.
pat yourself on the back.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's keep that as a goal for 2026.
yes.
Yes.
To return, because at the moment we have 10 out of 13 with one about to leave us. But surely we'll get some new legislators on WDIC. I'm just staring at the other person in the room. Prepare for the 2026 climate survey. We didn't really do anything about that. But thank goodness their budget does include funding for a climate survey, and so that will hopefully get done next year. I don't quite know what the process is to go from 0 to underway on the survey.
I was hoping admin would still be here for
I
that
know.
conversation.
I almost considered asking them to stay, but it's the end of the day. Yeah, but we will, so that would be a good 2026 goal, and maybe the first point is to
Invite them back.
invite them back to talk about the climate survey. Next was present the Leslyn McBean Claiborne Strength and Diversity Award, which we did do, including the establishment of a written process for presenting the award in the future, which we did not do, but we've got some notes on it. We had a bit more structure than previously. And so.
And then you're going to start a working group for that, hopefully early in the year?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And working groups are allowed to meet non-publicly, right?
Right. Subcommittees.
Whenever.
But working group is
Okay.
different.
But subcommittees are,
Subcommittees we would have to track and we'd have to
Rep
have in
over.
public. So
Yeah.
working groups are the way to go if you have a specific goal. Working
Right.
groups are also for one goal rather than a subcommittee that will continue to meet.
right. I do, interrupting my own list here, I briefly chatted with our county attorney the other day about whether WDIC must conform to open meetings law, because we almost do. The way that we don't is that, which is not obvious today, is that people who attend virtually count for quorum without needing any reason to attend virtually. And this came up because a completely different body related to the legislature was having a discussion about whether they needed to follow open meetings law. And they kind of, like us, were in an ambiguous position of, well, is this totally different reasons, but it was somewhat ambiguous and not, there was disagreement over whether it was a body doing governing work, which is one of the criteria. So I asked Maury, well, what about WDIC? Is it similar? And he didn't really know. He said he would look into this. I'm sure that our clerks here have thoughts and opinions that I'm realizing I don't fully understand, but some clarity on our status with regards to open meetings law might be nice to obtain. With, I will say, certainly no intention to reduce the amount of transparency. But I was thinking, for instance, if we were to make a subcommittee, does that subcommittee have to be on the public agenda and everything? That's just a more significant piece of work that would need to be done than a working group, which can just run itself. All right. Back to the 2025 goals, award the $5,000 allocated to mini grants in the 2025 Chief Equity Diversity Officer budget. We did that, or it was done with a group that included some people from here. I don't think there's that pot of money in the 2026 budget, is there? No. Okay, unfortunate, but we did do that. And receive and review reports on equity metrics from all departments. We did some of that. We've heard from several. 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it only 4?
Yeah, because I think it was 1.
I feel like I'm missing someone. COFA,
COFA.
And then these two.
Yeah, 4.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, right, and because we have a couple others scheduled, or 2 or 3 others scheduled for January, February, March, which is a good reminder to confirm them because in case the meeting dates are abnormal. Okay, so partially did that. It also says establish a clear reporting process with multiple options to better support department heads. We did not do that. And this is really something, per my understanding from our most recent Chief Equity and Diversity Officer, this is really something that the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer should be at the center of. And so I don't know what is best for going forward from here, because I would like this committee to receive some sort of equity indicator update from all the departments. And so I guess I welcome ideas or input on how it's been so far with the few departments, particularly from, I guess, those of you who've presented for your departments or are a county staff member.
Yeah, I'll just say that I know administration is tracking those equity indicators across departments. I'm pretty sure most all departments have submitted what they are, how they're measuring them, what their challenges have been, and that they are making that part of reporting those key performance indicators for departments also. And so some of those, I'm not sure if all equity indicators will also become key performance indicators or not, but those that do will be in OpenGov on that dashboard. So they will be publicly accessible and accessible for all of us to see. So I don't think it's a bad idea to continue to invite departments to come present about those equity indicators at a certain point in the year, and sort of keep track of who has and who hasn't, because I think it's just nice to see it in a presentation and to be able to ask questions, and that also helps them develop those data points for next year and how we're evaluating and looking at that. So that's my take.
That makes sense. Thank you. Yeah. I agree. It is really nice to hear, like, see it in a presentation, or really to be able to have some small dedicated time to discuss the equity indicators with the staff who are actively working with them. I've learned new things from every presentation on top of the words that were there defining the indicator. Another sub-bullet point under this was resource allocation according to the institutionalizing equity framework. And to be honest, I don't really know what that meant.
Yeah, I don't either.
Can you say that again?
Resource allocation according to the institutionalizing equity framework. I think the general idea here was that if we have equity embedded within our organization, then that should be visible in the way we allocate our resources.
Right. Yes, I would say that's probably exactly what it was, is just supporting, allocating resources to those areas.
And it sounds like that could be something or was something that our Chief Equity and Diversity Officer was helping us figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would say also something that they would want us to continue to support.
Yes,
And
although
ask
I don't know that we
questions
did that hardly, but we can work on it. This is sort of a broad goal that.
Yeah, I think part of that is even us advocating for adding the CETO to the charter, because even that, it's not a funding decision, but it also is.
That is true. All right. That was our first set of 2025 goals, and then there was another bullet point list that says, capacity permitting, WDIC is also interested in the following. One was returning to the strategic plan and the department work plans as a basis for countywide work. Not sure to what extent we did this, but I will say it's certainly something that I've been thinking a lot, that Charlene had brought up a bunch, others have brought up, that we have the strategic operations plan and maybe don't look at, certainly at the legislature, we don't look at it enough, even though I think that we should be. So I think that should remain and even be like increased in priority for 2026. Also, please just interrupt me if you have comments. I'm just kind of continuing reading for speed if I quit rambling. Second, barriers to employment and civil service. We didn't do anything about that. Unlike when we wrote this, now I've got two HR people sitting here. I think what spawned this was like sort of long-term concerns about the civil service system and maybe just in general the hiring system having like structural inequities within it, and wondering, can we examine these or address them or lessen them? Do either of you have thoughts of any form about this? I realize this might be a, like, oh, I could talk for 2 hours thing, which we don't have at the moment. But
I'm capable of. So the state is looking at rolling out a whole new way of doing civil service next year that I think will make it much more equitable than the old exams. I'm hopeful for that. Somebody who's worked in that field of careers and career training for a long time. I think that's going to help tremendously. And it's just also, more of getting the word out and targeting, different organizations to say, hey, this is what public service is. How would you like to support your community? There's lots of folks out there that want to support their community. They just don't realize what the government level, quote unquote, means and what partakes joining that. So it's a lot of community education around the recruitment piece.
that makes sense. Thank you. Rachel.
Question about that. So I keep hearing that also, that New York State is looking at revamping that process. And I'm just curious if they share a timeline on what they expect, because I know the state can move really slow on certain things. And I'm also curious if there's a committee of people that do work like you do with civil service in counties and state offices across the state that are like working on that together, and how you receive updates about the progress that they're making.
Yeah, there's definitely that, and there's been working groups around different parts of the change from all counties. People have been able to sign up, take surveys, like I said, working groups and such with the state. They were hoping end of June, July-ish, but that date's, we haven't heard a whole lot of solid information whether that state's going to stick or not. So it's the state to be determined, you know.
I mean, it is a huge task, so I didn't expect it to be quick, but I'm really glad to hear that they're moving in that direction.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah. Annie.
Could that be something that this group could follow up on, or, you know, with Larry, and hear more about it as it hopefully have some more progress next year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And
monitor progress.
Yeah, and maybe to help push that out in the community, or figure out how to push that information out into the community.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All right. Carrying on, we had meeting space for community members to discuss workforce diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know that we did anything additional about that. I know this came up as it felt to some committee members like it was a a need in the community, especially given the broader environment in 2025 becoming more hostile to these ideas. I think, I don't know, did we do this at all?
No, actually, reading this now, I'm like, I don't remember us discussing that, but we must have if it's on here.
Rob Brown brought it up, as I recall.
Okay.
That helps. Next one, update related policies. The county did update its diversity, equity and inclusion policy, including its title. I don't know whether we had other policies specifically in mind. But it would be interesting to, I think, for this committee to maybe like keep up with the policy updates more closely than it does. I mean, it doesn't, but there are always, county administration is always updating policies. We just heard about their equity lens questions for them because all the policies have a next scheduled review date, which may or may not be hit, but they're like supposed to be cycling through review every 5 years. So it is always happening.
And I know they talked yesterday in the training that we were in up at the health department that Lisa Holmes, former county administrator, had set a goal of reviewing all county policies within a certain time frame. I can't remember what that time frame was, but they said that they're, did they say 72 or 78% of the
76.
Oh, so okay, 76% of the way through all policies.
Nice. I think maybe it was 5 years.
Was it 5 years?
Possibly, because what I do recall is that, or I don't know if you know otherwise, that the policies, like at least ones that have been updated somewhat recently, always have a next scheduled review date 5 years in the future of that. So if that went perfectly, then in a 5-year window, all policies would be reviewed.
Right. But anyway, I thought that was pretty good. Pretty good progress, yeah.
All right. County Code of Ethics review. We did not do that. Update Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee bylaws. We did not do that. I don't know, is there anything like out of compliance in our bylaws currently, do you know? Okay, if you don't know. This.
Nothing that stands out enough to me that you would be at the top of the list, so.
Oh, phew, okay.
I think that one is up for review soon though, isn't it?
I think that when we originally discussed this at the beginning, there were just some things like subcommittees and rules for that. And so there were just odds and ends questions that you guys wanted to add because yours were reviewed pretty recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do recall we reviewed and updated it. I don't remember when, but it was like when y'all were in the process of updating the advisory board bylaws, like overall structure and rules for like, this is how advisory board bylaws should be so that they can be at least a little similar instead of haphazard all over the place. And it so happened that WDIC was reviewing its bylaws before the like rules for advisory board bylaws were completed. Because I remember being asked like, well, do you want to update them now or do you want to wait? And I think we said, well, let's update them now. If we end up needing to update them again real soon because there's something about the consistent rules that we're not following, that is fine.
Was it 2022?
23. Looks like it was May of 23. So again, you guys are not anywhere near the top of the list unless there's something that you specifically want updated to it.
Okay, thank you. And finally, we had support engagement with October 2025 Government Alliance for Race and Equity GARE Regional Conference. We did that, and the conference happened, and it was great. That is the end of that list. Does anyone have now comments, thoughts about 2025 or ideas for 2026 goals. We're not trying to finalize a list of goals now, just collect ideas.
I'm looking to see where I wrote them.
I would just add what Annie said, to keep our eye on the Office of Human Rights to that list.
Yes, it is on the list.
Yeah,
Or it is on the
including-
chicken scratch list in front of me.
Yeah, including a public engagement piece. Not just feedback, like not just to have a public hearing, but actual public engagement. And engaging with the Human Rights Commission. Go ahead, I had something, but I can add.
Go ahead.
I just was thinking, as we talked about the Human Rights Office and thinking about that some of those decisions and reporting are into the Health and Human Services Committee, and then we have our committee, or WDIC, like you report to BCP, Budget Capital Personnel Committee, and then if we have a resolution, it has to go through that. So just thinking, maybe just something to think about that system, in the coming year, like, right, whether it's to have somebody from here liaison or someone from those committees to liaison back and forth. I don't know, just wondering if maybe have at least a discussion on that, because it seems anyway, it just feels a little bit disconnected to me in some ways. I don't know if other people feel like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
The work is more siloed in a way.
I think the main reason that I'm on the Budget Capital and Personnel Committee this year is, well, I asked to be, and then the chair was like, oh, you could have 6 people on a committee. But I thought and continue to think that there really should always be a legislator who is on both BCP and WDIC. It doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be like a chair or vice chair of either, but I think there should be someone, and there hadn't been for several years until this year.
Right.
And it sounds like you're saying maybe something similar should go on with HHS.
And right now we do with Shauna.
Right.
So anyway, but yeah, that's just something I thought of. Thanks for considering that.
Thank you. John.
So a question and 2 suggestions. And the question being, and it may precede my knowledge and involvement to the evolution of WDIC, where did the E go in WDIC? Because there's a strong initiative, especially as the year ends, focused on equity. And it's conspicuously absent in the title of this committee. And I'm wondering, do we and should we make a motion out of this committee to put the E back into it and rename the committee for 2026?
We could do that. As for where the E went, I don't think it was
Where would
ever
you
in
put
it.
Please don't make any motions without quorum.
Right, we're not right now. Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah. But yeah, that's a thing we could explore.
I just
think
didn't know
WDIC
historically if it was for convenience sake of the acronym and.
Was there an E at one
No,
point?
I don't think so. I think it was just that this committee was created in 2006, and in 2006, equity was not the
term?
the thing, like it is today and has been for at least the past handful of years.
Right, I think DEI as the known acronym for this is fairly new, right? So, but it is an interesting and good suggestion, even thinking about the scope of the work that we do and discuss, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you say what the new acronym means frequently.
Right.
Otherwise I'll be coming to to chat with you.
You also may have caught on, I've been interchangeably calling this the Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee and the Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee, because it isn't the same as a regular standing committee of the legislature. But that, if we're looking at a name change, I would also want to explore that, like what type of beast is this thing?
Right.
So that was my question. And as far as goals and priorities, as I had mentioned, and it may have been last month's meeting, it may have been the one before, but as the CETO search goes on, we had talked about at one point of expanding the work of what the CETO is doing and underpinning what workforce diversity, equity, and inclusion means to this committee and by extension within our county. And the point that I want to get to is incredible work has been done, but I would like to see more work in the scope of what the CETO is doing for our LGBTQ community. And when Amanda was here, we had talked about that. I would just like to see more, and I do think that needs to be on a list of goals and priorities, that the role of the CETO, which is incredibly important, and the work that has been done is just not, I don't want anyone to take away that it's limited to a particular group. It's comprehensive, and there's much work to be done across many groups. But I would like to see more there. So that's my first suggestion. And then secondly, perhaps an issue that goes under the radar, I don't find it is spoken about too much, but about 2 weeks ago, and I can't remember if it was The Voice or if it was an independent journalistic outlet, and it was ultimately talking about single households and single individuals in any particular group. This article was specifically talking about within the state of New York, but it's true all over the country. I think a lot of times when issues get talked about, they get talked about in a traditional familial context when we start talking about money and benefits and allocation to resources and what have you. And inherently what happens, and I don't think it's by intent, is that single households or single individuals that are toting 100% of the bag get left out or forgotten. And I bring that to your attention because I also think, generally speaking, that is thought about in our younger population. And what gets neglected is that we have an elderly population that will continue to age and may not be underpinned by support from extended family or what is a traditional spouse, partner, significant other. And you are going to see, as the demographics change over the years to come, an increase in that single household arrangement. And I do think we need to spend a little bit more time in the equity of what are we doing across the board, but to be inclusive of those individuals that are solely 100% responsible for what is occurring in their life and how they're going to manage that. Thank you.
Noted. Thank you for bringing both those things up. John, if you come across that article again, can you share it with me?
I surely will.
I'm going to guess it wasn't in The Voice, because I usually at least read all their headlines, but
Hey,
no one's perfect, so.
I will do my best to find it.
Yeah, and no worries if you don't. Annie, did you have a hand?
Yeah, I just wanted to, in addition to what John was saying, I concur with that. And we had, I don't know if we had brought that topic up here as far as the part about the LGBTQ population. And, but it has been brought up before that for the CETO position. So for those, are you on that the interview panel? No? Well, Veronica is, so maybe that, so I would propose that to make sure that there's a question about that, because it's not just about race. Yeah, I've been feeling that was missing, that missing piece, even asking about it. So we need to make sure that we have somebody that either is coming in possibly with those skills or able to, have the skills to address that population.
I will pass this on to the person running the interviews. Larry, did you get that?
Taken.
Great, done.
Yeah, and you'll have input to, add questions too, those
Yeah,
people
so I
on the
send out
panel.
questions that we've used in the past. Some of the panel members have already sent me some questions.
Okay.
I'll compile those. They go to the entire panel. The panel gives me back questions that they want, and then we finalize them before we go to the interviews.
Okay, thank you. And I know this topic was brought up when Lisa Monroe was here from COFA doing the equity indicators, and so one of the things that Lisa said is that there's positions open on their board, their advisory board for County Office for the Aging. So we'll try, maybe we can try and get that word out there. So thanks, John, for those.
You're welcome.
Those issues.
All right. Any other thoughts about 2026?
If I may?
Yes.
I know that I always bring it up, but you are entering 2026 with 2 vacancies, 3 if a legislator is not returning to any, if a legislator is not choosing any seat. And thank you to those who are expiring on 12/31 for sending in their reapplications so early and letting me get them in. I appreciate the promptness.
Yes, thank you. I thought that we had 3 vacancies right this moment, based on the count of names on the agenda page. But do please correct me if I'm wrong about that.
I have 2 right now, 3 on the first because of the legislator seat. We can get together afterwards if you'd like and review our lists.
That sounds good.
You got it.
All right. Thank you for that addition, Jordan. We are on to committee members' reports. Does anyone have anything else to share for the committee? Sam, and then Rachel.
I just wanted to mention that tomorrow morning, we are having an open house, HR and admin combined. And so any employees, legislators as well, please come join us. We're going to have cocoa and cookies.
And that's 8 to 1 or something?
8:30 to noon.
8:30 to noon?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think
Say
there's
cookies and hot chocolate? Mm-hmm. Okay.
and decorations. Although
And decorations.
those have been
We are
there.
very festive at HR.
Rachel?
Mine is not really a report, but a shout out to Samantha and HR for the Leadership Development Series, Part 2 that I'm partaking in. It's been really, really great. I think everyone that's been attending is getting a lot out of it, and you really hit the ground running in this position that you're in, and you should be proud of yourself and your team, and I am proud of you guys too.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.
You're here. Anything else? If not, then we are adjourned.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you all. Please take food.